Alright, Chief. First off, cardigan sweater. You already know what that means. Second off, since so many people want to throw around all the studies and statistics they've gathered in an attempt to build some sort of air of credibility about themselves that they immediately use to justify their and your coping, we're just going to cut to the chase here. Here are all the studies and citations that I have for this video. It appears that there are none. Now, those who think they are paying attention will say, yes, the joke is that there are no studies, while those who are actually paying attention know that the joke is actually that I'm pointing out that there are no studies. Now, of course, we could continue to add layers to this and get as meta as we want, but the point has already been made. Things are not often what they are presented to you to be, because people are crabs in a giant societal bucket. As soon as you say, I don't like this thing I do, it's probably bad for me, I'm gonna stop doing it, all the other crabs are gonna put on a lab coat and try to tell you you're wrong. Because in the West, addiction is normal. Becoming a disgusting, half-formed, dopamine slave, overgrown child is becoming normal. And as the old saying goes, misery loves company. And the average person is very miserable, which means they want lots of company. This is really the only time in history where humans have had the pure abundance of resources to cause their own self-destruction through their vices. Whether that be gorging yourself to death, drinking yourself to death, maybe participating in what appears to be an overdose party advertised in the San Francisco area, or maybe instead of the direct destruction of the body, maybe more of a slow atrophy and death of the soul via internet pornography. Pick your poison, bud. Now this is where I take a sip of my pumpkin mug. It's kind of hot. Because I'm about to start yelling at the camera. How is it that on a material standpoint, this is the easiest time to be alive ever? Yet no one seems to have the time to actually take care of themselves. At no point in human history, as I just said, has there been more resources to destroy yourself, but there's also more resources ever to help yourself. The self-help and improvement industry is worth $11 billion. No matter what personal difficulty you're facing, there is an ebook or a real book, or maybe a YouTube video or an article or something that is meant to assist you in that endeavor. And I think it's simply too much. There is too much stuff and not enough action. The consumption and accumulation of data has in some way replaced actual significant effort towards being introspective, acknowledging where you need some work, and actually making that happen. If you know you're doing something wrong because it feels wrong, you don't need a study to confirm that belief. If one exists, cool, great, but at what point do we start putting the opinions of others over our own thoughts, feelings, and beliefs? Oh no, I failed November. I relapsed. I guess I needed another study. I needed to collect more data. No, you need to get a hold of yourself. Know this. There is no person, no study, no God that can save you if you are unwilling to save yourself. And I say that as a Christian because Jesus will take the wheel, but he's not going to reach down and take the Logitech gaming mouse out of your hand when you're about to click on a bad website. That's on you, King. What other people can give you, if you are willing to implement them, is strategies to quit. You can ask for strength, but other people's studies and opinions are worthless. There is no study, no meta-analysis that is worth a drop of your instinct. Don't look to the screen for answers that you already have, but you're unwilling to see. And at a certain point, doing more research is just going to get you lost in the weeds because there are people, there are businesses, there are entire industries that exist solely to make you and keep you addicted. They make money from your suffering. They make money when you can't stop yourself from clicking on a website. Their motives are very clear, and those who don't have a direct financial benefit to your addiction still have a vested interest in you staying crippled because, again, they're all crabs, and too many of them are wearing lab coats. And with all these monthly challenges that the crabs love to attack, they need to serve as simply a jumping off point for actual lifestyle change. Because these challenges are good, but they very quickly lose utility when you use failing one as an excuse to go back. Oh, I failed the challenge. Guess I can just go back to watching porn. You are a pathetic excuse for a human being. You are lower than most criminals. Like, if we ignore, the obvious amorality, at least it takes some sort of agency to say, rob a bank. At least the bank robber was probably stepping outside of their comfort zone. What do? And who doesn't love a good bank robbery anyways? Well, we're not actually advocating for bank robbing in this video. That comes later. Money's fake anyway, so who cares? But the point I'm trying to make is, it's not enough to just decide you want to change something and then make some initial progress on that something. You need to be constantly checking in on yourself to make sure that you don't fall back on bad habits. For example, during the week going up to the production of this video, I started to notice that anytime my brain fell below a certain threshold of stimuli, I would robotically pull out my phone and then open up Instagram or Twitter for that immediate dopamine hit. That is despite me constantly railing against social media addiction, ironically primarily on social media. Now, whenever I catch myself doing that, to give my brain a little reset, I usually cut out all social media for at least 3 days. And if you were to follow me on Twitter, for example, and be hyper observant, you would see the blocks of time that I'm just simply not active, which I'm proud of. But the point is, you can't just establish a healthy relationship with something like social media and then assume that that's going to extend forward into time indefinitely. That is a choice, just like everything else. In the same way that you can't train to the point of being able to do 20 push-ups and then after that be like, oh, I can do 20 push-ups and stop training, because if you do, in a couple weeks, you're not going to be able to do 20 push-ups anymore. Which is why, again, the gym is a perfect analogy for everything. There is no staying in the same place. You are either getting better or you are getting worse. With that, I will leave you with one last point. Every year around the holidays, people get ideas for what is commonly referred to as a New Year's resolution, which of course the gyms love to capitalize on. But it's also of course commonly understood that New Year's resolutions don't last very long, which is also why the gym loves to capitalize on them. But how many times have you talked to someone who's like, yeah, after the New Year's, I'm done with cigarettes. And then you run into them 6 months to a year later and ask them how not smoking's going. What's the usual response? Oh, well, I quit for a bit, like a month or so, and then I got back on. It's like, bruh, you're telling me you decided to quit something, and then over the course of an entire year, you drove yourself to the store to buy the thing you said you weren't going to do anymore. For an entire year, you never once just forgot to buy cigarettes. It's not like going to the gym, which of course requires effort because you need to go somewhere and do something. Not smoking cigarettes means not getting in your car, driving to the cigarette store and buying cigarettes. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. You see, it's not about the challenges. It's not about the resolutions. It's about actual lifestyle change. Matter of fact, this video will be released in mid-November, a month and a half before the New Year's. If you have something that you want to change, something that you want to start doing, or something that you want to stop doing, here is your invitation to do it right now and get a head start. And if you say no, I'm just going to wait for the New Year's, you are weak and pathetic, and you are going to fail, and no one can save you. And all the miserable little crab people are going to be so happy to have you at their party. See, life is not about doing everything 100% right 100% of the time, because I guess that's like unrealistic. But you don't fail when you mess up and relapse. You fail when you stop trying. How dumb can you be that you just can't seem to forget to buy that one specific thing? That's all I have to say. Like, comment, subscribe. AppaDanLol on Instagram and Twitter. That was all of my energy. I'll catch you later.